Alright, I get it. I know. You didn't ask for this video, and you're probably tired of hearing about elections, politics, conspiracy theories, and so on. I get it. But please, I just want to speak my piece and be done with it. So I'm going to warn you now. This video is probably going to hurt some people's feelings. But I want to extend an invitation to anyone who's willing to hear me out, regardless of your political views. I also extend the invitation to those of you outside of America, and let me see things through your country's eyes a little bit. If you haven't heard by now, it looks like former Vice President Joe Biden will be taking the Oval Office next year. But I'm not going to shoot down other possibilities just yet. Donald Trump did say he was going to keep us at the edge of our seats, and well, he ain't lying. He's filed several lawsuits and plans on taking this election to the Supreme Court. For a person like me, it's a scary thing to think about, but from what I'm hearing, this isn't over yet. Before I continue on, I would just like to set the record straight that I did not vote for Joe Biden this election season. I voted for Joe Jorgensen, the Libertarian. I know a lot of people will say, oh, you just wasted your vote. Oh, you shouldn't have voted at all. I don't give a flying fuck what you think about that. Okay? I voted for the person that suited my morals and who I thought would do a pretty decent job at running this country. But I'm not gonna lie, if Joe Jorgensen was off of the ballot, then Joe Biden would have been my second choice. I've seen a lot of different reactions to how things are going so far. I've seen sobbing, rejoicing, cheering, yelling, fighting, mocking, literally every kind of reaction you can think of from all sides. When I heard the news, I had a pretty interesting reaction. You see, for the past 4 years, I've been okay. Granted, I wasn't singing God Bless America while waving the American flag as enthusiastically as my arms would allow, but I could say that I was able to go about my daily life without worrying about being killed. But this year has taken a toll on all of us, all over the world, and when I received word that Joe Biden was the presidential-elect, it was like seeing America the way I did as a child, as this absolute unit that was able to come together and respond to a situation as it was happening, as a country that got shit done. And for the first time in a long time, I actually feel some semblance of hope and pride for this country. Now, let me tell you why I feel like this. Since Trump was elected president in 2016, it's felt like he's been running this country like it's a TV show where he's the star and everyone else doesn't matter. He spends more time on Twitter sending out these ridiculous tweets than he does actually running this country. And from my perspective, he has run this nation into the ground. I feel a little bit bad for Joe Biden because he's essentially inherited a train wreck, and he now has to figure out how he's going to help rebuild it. Now, I hear you, Trump supporters. I hear you when you say that Biden is a socialist with dementia and is only going to make things worse. But as a gay trans man, I have some questions. You've informed me that Trump supports gay marriage, but he himself prefers women. And that's fine. I do not take issue with people like that at all. That is a perfectly fine stance to have. But I want to know, what exactly has he done to support the LGBTQ plus community, aside from a lot of talk? What has he done to protect us? What has he done to put us in a better place than we were 4 years ago? And I have another question for you. What has Donald Trump done to support people of color. And when I say people of color, I'm not just talking about the Black Lives Matter movement. I'm talking about the Latinos, people of Middle Eastern descent, all people of color who have been the victim of racism in this country. What has he done to help and support them? I mean, if I've just been living under a rock this whole time and missed out, please load up my comments with hardcore facts. I am completely open to it. Let me tell you what I think. And I'm sure I'm going to lose some subscribers for this, but at this point, it's too late to be worrying about that. Trump is a narcissist. He doesn't care about anyone but himself and money. He doesn't care about the LGBT community. He doesn't care about people of color. And he doesn't even care that we're in the midst of a global pandemic. And I know that he doesn't care because the people that worship him reflect that. I want you all to tell me, specifically LGBTQ members, people of color, and all the women out there, if at any point during the past 4 years you felt like you were not safe, welcome, or free in the United States of America because of Trump and or his supporters. This year was the first time since 2015, when I first came out as trans, that I forced myself to go back into the closet. I went back to going by a name I didn't identify with. I sucked it up and battled through my dysphoria and put labels on myself that have been slowly killing me inside. And I did it because I thought I was safer that way. Especially after moving to a new town where I hardly know anybody. Why did I have to do that if Trump and his supporters supposedly supported me? I learned at a young age that words are cheap. Anyone can say anything to get what they want. That's why I don't listen to words. I listen to actions. And the only thing Trump has proven to me is that he is unfit to be running a country that is supposed to set an example for the world. Now, I've had plenty of people tell me, well, Sleepy Dementia Joe isn't much better. Sleepy Joe is a socialist. He doesn't know what he's talking about most of the time. He's a racist pedophile that hates gays and wants to take away our rights. I've had people tell me in my comments that they don't want Joe Biden as president because he's going to enforce stricter lockdowns and make us all wear masks, and they don't want to do that. Good! That's good! Lock down this country. Sea to shining sea. Make me wear 10 masks. With COVID cases in the states reaching record highs every week, we need a second lockdown now, a lot more than we needed it earlier this past spring. And what did you all say? But it's spring break. I've already made plans. It's just the flu. It's not that bad. Yeah, tell that to the 238,000 people in the U.S. that have already died this year from it. If those were war casualties, guaranteed every last one of you, regardless of political party, would be up in arms about it. But do you want to know where the irony came in with this election? Who here remembers back in 2016 when the people who didn't vote for Trump were just downright devastated and said they were going to move to Canada? What was it that every Trump supporter was telling us? He's still your president. Get over it, you snowflakes. Do you remember all of us saying, not my president? And wanting him to be impeached before he even took the Oval Office? Well, guess what the Trump supporters started saying? If Biden wins, I'm moving to Canada, Germany, New Zealand, Australia, just to name a few countries. They're saying everywhere, not my president. They're trying to get Joe Biden out of the way before he even takes the Oval Office. I mean, the level of hypocrisy here is outstanding. They're even taking the American flag and hanging it upside down. which, in simplest terms, means America is in distress or great danger. Military and police officers have been doing this with patches of the American flag as well. And from what I'm told, you bastards don't get to decide to do that. You only do that if it is a direct order when the country is truly in distress and danger, not when you are in distress. And just so we're clear, yes, I was one of those people who was crushed when Trump was elected. I used to be one of those people who said, not my president. But eventually I came to accept that this is how things were going to be. It was done, and there was nothing that I'd be able to do to help change it. I started giving Trump the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he would surprise me. Maybe he'd actually prove to all of us and the rest of the world that he was a good choice for this country, and that he would unify America to the likes the world has never seen. I wanted him to prove me wrong. Apparently, though, that was just asking too much. Honestly, I have to give credit where credit is due, though. To the Trump supporters who have managed to maintain their composure and extend an olive branch and have tried to make peace, kudos to you all for being the bigger person. But understand this. We don't forgive that easily. We won't forget the hateful things you said to us. And we won't forget how you sought to divide us. And we most certainly won't forget the anxiety, fear, and desperation that was felt during this election. We may forgive, but we will never forget. To the Trump supporters that are looking to move to another country to get away from Biden, first of all, other countries aren't exactly willing to let in Americans because of our high number of COVID cases. So if you're serious about moving, you're gonna have to wait. Also, is anyone else gonna tell them that all of the aforementioned countries I listed earlier are social democracies? You know, that liberal stuff you all hate so much. They're all for it. Except maybe the neo-Nazis. I don't know. Plus, citizenship is a thing. You might want to figure out how to get that. Oh, and by the way, simply because it needs to be said, Alaska and Hawaii are American states, and Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory. It's sad that I actually have to explain this. And another thing, Donald Trump did not have the popular vote back in 2016. The popular vote went to Hillary. It was the Electoral College that made the final decision. Since then, a lot of people turned 18 and voted for the first time. And a lot of those new voters were in favor of Biden. On top of that, there have been a lot of former Trump supporters that caught on to his bullshit and voted against him. So explain to me, why in the fuck did you all think he was going to win by a landslide? Donald Trump has pissed off a lot of people, and not just the Democrats. Several world leaders hate his guts. Doctors and scientists hate his guts. Certain news outlets hate his guts. And over 70 million Americans hate his guts too. I hate his guts with a burning passion. He is a bumbling idiot that doesn't take responsibility when things go wrong. He's a narcissist that thinks he's God's gift to humanity and he should have been shot down before his name ever made it onto a ballot. He should have never made it onto a ballot. And one last thing that really grinds my gears, people saying that Joe Biden has dementia. Okay, I get it that the man's 77 years old and is about to be the oldest sitting president, but I had to watch my grandmother, a woman that I looked up to my entire childhood, deteriorate to the mentality of a 5-year-old at the age of 72 due to dementia. Hear me. Joe Biden does not have dementia. Does he stutter and stumble over his words a little bit? Sure. But in my own opinion, Donald Trump shows more signs of having dementia than Joe does. And he's 75. They're not that far apart in age. Get over yourselves. Now, I would like to end this video on one final note. A lot of the problems America is worried about right now, racism, sexism, homophobia, and so on, those problems do not just lie in the hands of our government to acknowledge and correct. From state to state, the government can only do so much. The root of the problem lies with us, the American people. Nobody is born a racist. Nobody is born hating the LGBTQ plus community. Men are not born hating women. Women are not born hating men. Blatant hate like that is something you are taught, either by your family, friends, or through negative experiences you witnessed firsthand. If you can be taught to hate somebody, then you can also learn how to love and respect each other. It's not impossible, and there is no excuse as to why these problems should exist in 21st century America. For the first time in a long time, I actually have some hope for this country. So let's work together to remove the wedge that divides us, and let's show the world what it truly means to be united.